All right, we'll go ahead and open up the Ford County Commission meeting. This is meeting 2023-42, December 4th. And first we have a call to order, which we have all the commission here other than Commissioner Tassett, who is out of town. And up first is a prayer by Chaplain Deborah
Muellert.
Muellert of Kingdom Harvest Church, and followed by a Pledge of Allegiance. So, very grateful.
Where did you want?
You can write it. Thank you.
Let us pray. Most gracious and merciful Heavenly Father, we come before you with gratitude in our hearts for your many and abundant blessings. We thank you especially for these, your servants, our county commissioners and others in authority, who have chosen the way of service on our behalf. You make clear in your word, Father, what your expectations are for those who sit in places of authority, that they defend the cause of the afflicted and needy and deliver them from those who seek to harm them. Help our commissioners remember that they are first and foremost your servants, and that their highest purpose is honoring you and doing your will. We pray, therefore, that you would be glorified through the decisions of our county commissioners in this agenda today. Give them your wisdom, strength, and courage to do what is right, just, and fair for all residents of the county. May they put the interest of others above their own and agree to disagree in love where there is honest disagreement. We thank you again for their hearts of service to you and the residents of Ford County. In your most holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, first up, we'd like to amend the agenda to add a letter of support for the city of Dodge City. And I'd make a motion to put that under number 4 under the county administrator's report. So that would be a motion to add a letter of support.
I second it.
The motion second. I'll call a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. We have a consent agenda before us, which has the meeting minutes of 2023-40 and 2023-41, a Ciro Malt beverage application from Freedom Petroleum, and this is, Freedom Petroleum is the Spearville truck stop, and then a Ciro Malt beverage license for Rancho El Palomino LLC for Leobardo Del Rio. And I'd make a motion approving the consent agenda as presented.
I second it.
And with the motion second, any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Next up is approval for the claims for payment. This is the amount of $369,809.97. Any highlights?
Nothing out of the usual.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the claims.
I second.
With the motion second, I'll go ahead and call a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we're at the part of the meeting where it's open public comment, so if anybody has any action they want to bring forward or anything information they want to bring in front of the county commissioner, and this is when to bring it, please limit it to 5 minutes per individual, 15 minutes per topic, and final action can be deferred until the next county commission meeting, but unless there's an emergency situation that we need to handle right away. But the microphone is open if anybody wants to move forward and discuss anything with us. Afternoon, Steve.
A lot of people don't know this, but effective January the 1st, Ford County will celebrate 50 years of taking over EMS in the county.
Wow.
So on January the 6th, from 1 to 3, we'll be having an open house out at the fire station with a ribbon cutting at 1:30.
Okay.
So,
Do you need any help with financing the refreshments?
so we're good to go. Thank you.
Are you sure?
Yes, sir. All good to
I'm
go.
not too good to jump up myself.
I understand, I appreciate that.
Okay.
So just wanted you to be aware.
1:30 ribbon cutting.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. That's exciting. Anyone else? All right, moving on. There's no unfinished business and no legal counsel, so we'll move into the county administrator's report.
First item on the agenda, Mr. Vice Chairman, is the Rural Opportunity Zone Program and a resolution.
Welcome, Kyla.
I'm Kyla Keller. I'm with the Development Corporation. I'm presenting the Rural Opportunity Zone. We have been a zone for 3 years, and in the past, we have not asked for any funding for this program, and we are gonna continue that. So currently, how this program would work is if somebody from another state or another county moved to Ford County, or if they left for school and can prove that they weren't gonna come back, and that could just be changing their license, they could enter into this program. And currently, the way that we're gonna have it set up is that the employer would match the state. So over a 5-year period, the student could get repayment for their education up to $15,000, and $7,500 would be from the state, and $7,500 would be from the employer. So we just need to continue it with no funding asked from Ford County.
Okay.
And we just feel like it's a good workforce recruitment tool to have. Currently, we don't have anybody in this program, but we do have employers that are trying to reach out to students from colleges to recruit them back and use this program.
And you have businesses that are interested in this?
Yes.
Okay.
We have one employer right now that has 3 students going to Pitt State, and they're hoping to use this, but they're about 2 years away from having those students come back here.
Yeah.
So,
I could see where this would be a big draw if you're like a, I don't know, like a diesel mechanic or something like that, and you're trying to pull,
construction's a big one.
yeah,
So,
certain trades.
we haven't had a lot of success in this program yet, but we don't want to see it go away either in case we can. And eventually the REWA, Rural Education and Workforce Alliance, if we do see a pickup in this, we've talked about maybe putting funds towards this for recruitment,
Okay.
so.
And then currently, 7,500 of the 15,000 comes from the state of Kansas?
Yeah, and
7,500
7,500,
comes from the business itself?
yeah, matching from that county, so the employer has to be in Ford County.
Okay. So the reason why you need 4 counties,
The county has to approve it for our county to be able to be part of the state program.
okay. That makes sense.
Do you guys have any questions?
Well, I'm really excited for that because I've already paid my kids off. And I was reading this deal and I got to thinking, my God, you know, suddenly somebody's gonna get a free deal and I'm not gonna be a part of it.
Most counties, either get their community foundation involved in it to put money towards this, which we've had those conversations with them. And other counties use employers. That way the employer has something in it.
A contract or something? Yeah.
And they can't get the 15,000 unless they stay with that employer for 5 years. So it's only 3,000 a year.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'd make a motion to adopt resolution, and this is 2023-30, authorizing participation in the Rural Opportunity Zone.
Well, I reluctantly second it. Because I paid mine off every month. And anyway, paid my kids off. Anyway, it was not,
Did you record
I
that?
didn't think it was the county or the state's job to pay off for my kids. But anyway,
Well, and I think in this situation, it's 15,000, which isn't paying it off. I mean, that's just a portion to encourage coming back.
It's just a recruitment tool that the state put into place to hopefully help with workforce issues.
my grandson's was $10,000, so.
That's
you
it?
You talk about
Wow.
no big, well,
Wow.
that's what it costs to go to school in Wichita State for 1 semester, 2 semesters, $10,000.
It's not bad.
Well, anyway, he paid it off.
Yep.
And my daughter's was 32,000, and I paid that off.
Yeah.
And my boy, I paid it off, but we didn't borrow any money, I would just send him a check every month. And he went to school at Goodwell, Oklahoma. So this little girl knows about that. Okay, I
So-
second
So we have a motion second, I'll go ahead and call a vote, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next is the Fort County Engineers Report. Thank you.
I know.
Getting you in
Make
here.
me feel special. Good afternoon.
Afternoon, gentlemen.
Get the right page in front of me, that would help a lot. A little bit update on some things going on with the county engineer. Quick update on the Highway 50 expansion west of Dodge. Going through the winter's months, there's just not a whole lot happening out there. They're continuing to work on some of the box extensions for the final phase of construction, which would be on the south side of the highway. Doing some dirt work, and I think they're getting some paving going a little bit, again in Gray County. But things will gear up again once we get going closer to spring, probably February, March, things start warming up a little bit better. On a consistent basis, especially in the early morning hours, and get longer daylight, it's hard to work very productively in the wintertime. We, I guess, call the Hillmore Cheese Plant roadway improvements, which for the county's sake is 112 and Outlaw Road. They're south of 56 and east of 283 highways. If you've been down there recently, things are moving again, so that's a good sign. Quite a bit of the pavement is down on the 2 miles of county road. But I think the one that most of the public are impacted by the most is the highway junction there where the roundabout's under construction. Drove by there just this afternoon after lunch. There's probably more demolition going currently, dirt work, than there is paving, but they were placing a little bit of concrete pavement there. But it's gonna be honestly spring before the road is open, the intersection is open to traffic, as far as South Second Avenue and the roundabout itself. But a little bit, it's making some progress.
But it's not very fast. I was down there yesterday myself, and it don't look like me, it looks like to me a bunch of lazy people.
Well, I can't comment on that, but
Well, I'm just telling you the truth.
it's, roundabouts take a while, because just by nature, there's a lot of pieces that go into it, so it does take a while. But at least they're there working, that's a step forward. We didn't see that for
Well,
several months.
Yeah, we're working for it now, but what about 4 months ago, when that guy stood right here and told about making that roundabout? And that was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago, so maybe this is an opportunity to kind of speak about the contract a little bit. So it's a KDOT project, the contractor.
Well, I can tell you something else too, that had I known how much water it takes for this cheese plant, I would have not voted for that cheese plant at all to come in here because of the amount of water. We already got the city worrying about the water in this town, and there it is.
Understandable. With the roundabout, the completion date by contract is towards the end of December this month. I think everybody can see that obviously is not gonna happen. So
No kidding. No
So what
kidding.
happens in that instance, the contractor will fall into daily liquidated damages until the project is open to traffic. So they will be getting docked.
Them poor guys that got businesses down across there next to there, they got their road shut off. I would think, I would be a little bit ashamed to drive down there and not go fast. I drove fast and spun around, and I didn't have Ford County on my pickup because I didn't want to get shot at.
Understandable, yeah.
Is there a time frame of when that potentially is going to be open? I know there's a end of December penalty kicks in,
Right.
but do they tell you, like, it's gonna be January, February, March,
I believe the last I heard it's probably likely like April.
April even?
To actually get the roundabout completed and open.
Okay,
Weather obviously plays a role in that, so things go perfectly, maybe March would be a reality, but I would easily go with the worst case scenario and be excited if it gets done early.
who collects those fees?
The state does. So, because in this instance, it's a state project,
Yeah,
The state makes payments to the contractor, so once they go into liquidated damages, they will just withhold those funds from payment. In other words, it's a deduct. So say the contractor was owed $100,000 and they had $20,000 in damages, KDOT would just pay them $80,000
Okay.
towards the work. So that's how that operates on.
112 Road, when will that open?
That I don't have an answer for exactly. So they're working right there in front of Hillmar on 112 Road to the east of Hillmar.
Yeah.
Currently, I believe they've got most of the pavement down from Outlaw around the curve. So Outlaw east of 283 Highway, around the curve up to the south entrance to Hillmar. That pavement is pretty well done. They might have still a little bit left right there where the connection to 283 is.
Okay.
And then from Hillmar, I think kind of in between the two Hillmar entrances up to 56 Highway, they haven't done any paving in that area,
Yeah.
really to speak of.
Okay.
And so along with that, and then there's also a turn lane, the right turn lane from eastbound 56 going south onto 112, still needs to be done. They haven't even torn that asphalt shoulder off there yet.
Gotcha.
So there's a fair amount of work to be done there. So again, I would guess for that whole 2-mile stretch to be done probably in the spring.
All that would
In
be.
reality, yeah.
And when's Hillmar supposed to open?
Which
There's-
year? Which year?
24.
You
Hillmar,
better make it 25, then you won't be telling falsehoods.
well, I'm not the one building it, so I can't promise anything. I'm just going off what I've been
Well, I can
told.
tell you what, I drove by that road 112 and looked down, I have too good eyesight to see, I couldn't see very much word down there.
Well, they're bouncing back and forth, so they're probably most of the activity in the intersection of the two highways right now. But there was people down there when I drove by this afternoon.
What were they down there going to the bathroom or something? What's the deal?
I didn't get that close to see.
Okay.
Your question about Hillmar, my
Yeah.
understanding is like, I think fall of 2024 when they're starting to start
Okay.
production, so there's quite a bit of time, but they are trying to get loads in and out of Hillmar, so they're, the highway contractors coordinating with Hillmar on providing access to get their different pieces, components to the plant in and out of there.
So where's they gonna get the milk?
That's not my business, I'm on the roads.
Well, I'll tell you one thing about it, I understand in Edwards County, they're gonna put a big dairy over there. There's one gonna be down by Meade, the big dairy there, and then already over by Cimarron, there's a dairy already there.
So might be from some of all those.
And
I
it's
don't know.
Pray Me Not, no, that's not the name of it.
Forgive me now.
Forgive Me Not,
That's the name of the dairy?
that's the name of the dairy. Forgot Me Not.
Well, I know, to answer that question, I know Plains has a dairy there and they're adding 100,000 head. So I mean, it's a very big advancement right now, and Syracuse, Kansas are adding more head there as well, and you've got, what, 3 in Cimarron, so I mean, I don't know if they're contracted with them. I've heard Forget Me Not potentially is adding more, and that did sell, so
Have
there's
you been by the Syracuse one lately?
No.
I have.
And,
And I can tell you one thing, it's quite a ways to get the milk to Dodge City.
well, that's their plan.
Yeah, couple hour drive anyhow, 2.5, 3 hours.
It's a short hour getting out of on the highway.
But I guess if it's worth the
Whatever,
haul, that's what they'll do, yeah.
I mean, I don't know if they were going to Dalhart currently, and this just stops that extra mileage, but
So that was one press release I'd seen, that they may haul some from Texas, at least on a short-term basis, just to get them up and running too, so yeah, it's quite a deal. It's gonna
Yeah.
come from all over.
okay.
But I'm
Like I
worried.
said, if I could go back to when we voted yea for that deal, I would have voted no. Because I don't like the situation. We're out of water and all this. Unbelievable.
I know his comments right now don't pertain necessarily to your roads that you're talking about, but there are things that I think you're talking about that will help get clarified here in just a little bit. Because the water is being shipped up in containers to make milk, and there'll be a lot of runoff that wasn't created in our riverbed. It wasn't created in our aquifer. It's coming from other areas outside. So that will be, hopefully with the letter of intent, discharged back into our aquifer.
Right, could be a transfer.
It's a transfer of water. So it'll be a benefit to us to have a cheese plant that actually brings water in, because, you know, when you look at 80,000 pound tankers, that basically, they kind of explode that milk into 5 ways, and part of that is that gray, I don't wanna call it gray water, but there's a runoff of water that will actually be cleaned up and filtered back and put into the aquifer. And that's the intent behind that. So we'll actually be a positive of the water use.
Good point.
I mean, that's,
Pleased to hear about that here momentarily.
yeah.
A couple projects that were under process this summer and fall that have wrapped up. The low water crossing on 127 Road has been completed. The road is open to traffic. So I'm gonna take that off my to-do list here, my report. As well as the off-system Bridge 97 on 133 Road, south of Jewel Road. That project has been completed. Couple things in the works still. The resurfacing of 102 and 113 roads, looking at funding availability before we go anywhere further with those two projects, but they are pretty well ready to go out the door. And some upcoming non-county, as far as road bridge concerned, we have the Pioneer Creek Wind Farm and the Boot Hill Solar Farm that have submitted development plans and conditional use permits to the county. We'll be working with county staff on road agreements when those two projects are full go. And outside of that, we had submitted for we had submitted for cost share funds for that 102 road resurfacing project, and that did not get selected for cost share. So I think after the first of the year, we'll want to take a look at what the county's been doing there and see if there's a different project that we want to pursue or continue to pursue that project. Maybe there's a better project. We can revisit that after the first of the year. KDOT will take applications again in the spring for cost share funding. And one other thing I wanted to visit with about today.
John, does KDOT, do they help or assist in culverts or fixing of like where maybe water's deteriorated, maybe side of a road where a culvert is, and the culvert still works, but it's just,
Typically not. I mean, I wouldn't say that they wouldn't. Cost share funds technically is for anything transportation related, but it is an extremely competitive program.
more bridge,
Culvert.
road?
Yeah, more like a safety improvement type thing. They're really been popular funding sidewalks. This is, the cost shares for counties and cities both,
Mhm.
or really for anything. They could be airports, they could be anything transportation related. So you're thinking, the cost share, I think they have like $8 million or something, $10 million this go around for any municipality or any other transportation related thing across the state. There's a lot of applications getting turned in for a pretty small pot of funds. So
Yeah.
it's gotta be something really eye-catching and kind of tearjerker type project anymore,
Okay.
to get the state's attention. So, in general, not really, as far as a culvert, pipe especially, you're pretty much on your own for anything like that. So I know this will get Commissioner Slick excited here, but
I bet it
let
won't.
me explain before you make any assumptions. So KDOT has a program, and it's not just KDOT, it's a national federal highway funded program called the High Risk Roads. They also have a highway safety improvement program. They kind of go together. One of the things that KDOT has really been looking for an opportunity to fund is construction of a traffic circle or roundabout, as you might call them in some situations. So what you're looking at that I handed out is the Main Street intersection there in Will Rhodes Gardens. It was identified, if you recall, a I think 2 years ago, Ford County participated in KDOT's local road safety plan program, where KDOT hired a consultant to go out and evaluate all the federal aid secondary roads in the county and identify areas that might be worthy of safety improvement. And they provided a top 10 list of, they could be road segments or it could be intersections. Well, this intersection in Will Rose Gardens was on the top 10 list that the local road safety plan came out with. And if you've been through Will Road Garden on the main road, it's kind of a funky switchback curve going through there, and there's a drainage ditch with a box culvert right in the middle of that switchback curve, and it's kind of a narrow thing as well. So one thing mentioned in the local road safety plan is a potential improvement would be a roundabout at that intersection. So we put together a concept drawing of this roundabout in here that would help realign that intersection and provide basically continual flow through there. So really what I'm asking for today, and I've not talked to anybody within Will Roads and Gardens about this project, I was working with Road and Bridge just for the idea, is if the commissioners would support taking this to the residents of Will Road Gardens and asking if they would support this. So we're not turning this into as an application for funding yet unless we got full support from both the county commission as well as the local residents and whatever governing body they have there at Will Roads Gardens.
I see the church is not, it's empty. I can see the picture of the church, I see the picture of the school, it's empty. So what is the reason we wanna spend all this money up there?
That one would be for safety improvement for the people that use the roads. The other part I didn't get to yet was if the county's applied for this, and that there's no guarantee yet, but KDOT has said on roundabouts, if that fits their criteria, they may fund the construction up to 100% of the actual construction cost. Possibly design as well. That would be something to vet with KDOT to find out what they would actually fund. So this would be a safety improvement for the traffic that is using the roadway now and into the future. So I'm just asking if the county would support taking us to the Will Rose Gardens residents and asking if they would be
Can
interested.
you see
in
the picture of the school here? Can you see the picture of the church here?
I can see the aerial outlines on the map, yes.
Yeah. There's not enough people out there to even think about spending that kind of money.
Well, it's the value of one life if there was an accident. Always think about that.
So the proposal you're looking at, this roundabout concept is actually something that you would get signed off on by the people of Will Roads. You ask for the county commission's approval first, then you go to them and you talk to that group out there about it.
That was my plan, yes.
And then the idea is that you would then put together some sort of a grant or proposal for the state, and the state would then sign off on this being a safety issue.
Correct.
Okay.
So they would, if it got to that point, we would submit an application to the state. For this round, applications are due in January. I don't know that we can get everything put together by then, but they'll do this again in the year. So maybe we're looking at, 2024 or early 25 for the actual application.
Gotcha.
But if we take it to the residents and there's a resounding, heck no, we don't want that, then it'll just go away and don't worry about it.
Questions from the group?
Well, first off, it's wide, but secondly, the issue area right there isn't the roundabout, but where you got the two arrows at Middle Road and Main Road, there's a bridge crossing there. We've had more issues with that than anything, people coming around the corner and smoking the bridge railings.
Right. We would address that with this project as well, to lengthen that bridge out away from the roadway, to provide more room, probably get rid of the rails. So this is a concept, obviously, if it was funded, we'd put a full
Why
design
don't we put a
together.
roundabout in the middle of Ford? There's as many people as Ford there is in Melrose.
Well, the reason we picked this location is because it was in the top 10 list, like I said, for the local road safety plan.
And you kept talking about that, actually, I don't know. My kid went to school in Melrose. I went to church in Melrose. And I don't know.
So-
I can't imagine why somebody would even dream up spending that money like that.
So the question is, can we take it to the residents of Will Roads, and if they support it, come up with cost numbers, and then you can see what the actual cost might be?
I think as far as me sitting here, I think, you know, when you talk about the bridge there on Middle Road coming into Maine, I mean, absolutely, we'd wanna see if there's any way the state would support funding and fixing that. And as far as the roundabout itself, I don't necessarily know that it needs to be that excessive of a project. I mean, that's a big project. I think it'd be nice to actually see a roundabout finished first in our county before we go about a second one, but, I mean, this is, I wonder almost if the safety issue isn't necessarily the Plum and Main Road intersection as it is more that Middle and Main Road, where that intersection is. Just, I don't know, it just seems like it kind of becomes a shortcut for some people.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. But as far as addressing this area, I don't have a problem with you trying to look at this and address it in some way. I do believe the school is still being used, just not for USD 443 necessarily grade kids. It's more of the,
Rise,
what's that?
Rise,
Yeah. The
613,
Yeah,
613, 443.
yep. Because I know that they moved the students of that out there, so it is still actively being used. Church, I don't know. I mean, I've known people that have gone out there, but I don't know how active it is right now. But there are a lot of citizens there, so I mean, if
There's
that's
a for sale sign right in front of it, if you wanna know what they're trying to sell.
the church.
They're probably not trying to sell a preacher.
I hope not. But yeah, I mean, that's,
And you say the school is being used?
yeah, there's, they've actually taken the grade school students out of it, but they are actually using it for more of like it's more of like a junior adult, program out there. So that's where they moved all that. That was kind of a controversial thing the school district did. I don't recall the USD number behind it, but it's a different one than 428 or 443.
613.
613. So 613 is what's housed there now. USD 613.
They have not only students from here, but from Ashland, Dayton, the surrounding areas as well.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry I spoke up because I certainly didn't know anything about that. Last I knew they had stopped using the school, like 443, they stopped. And,
I think one of the issues on the county we had was, I mean, our sheriff responds to that facility more than the city does. So I think that created more of a burden on us, moving that student population there. So it's one that's more controlled by us now.
well, they closed that school and the people out there from National Beef going down the river, where they keep showing up here griping about that deal there. Well, when they was still griping about that deal, they was a bus going out of 443 taking kids out there, grade school kids out there going to school. And that's been about 3 or 4
Correct.
years ago.
Right. How long's that been?
2
2
years, sure, maybe 3.
Yeah, maybe
I
on the
think
third
this
year.
is the third year.
Okay. John, anything else you want? Did we get you enough
Was that a thumbs
clarification?
up or a maybe?
You know, I
You want me
think
to wait till you have all three commissioners here, would that be better, or?
it'd probably be good to actually definitely get his input since fits in his profile of the territory.
Sure.
I mean,
Like I said, I
Smart.
think at this point, getting an application in for this period, because it's in January, is probably gonna be,
quick.
yeah, not feasible from the time standpoint, so we wanna push this off until all three commissioners here, I'm fine with that too, I mean, that's fine.
I don't necessarily think we need the roundabout as much as maybe that other intersection or just addressing the intersections there.
The one thing with the roundabout, I guess I would say would definitely help slow people down. If speed is an issue, going through the switchback curves, they don't do it nearly as easy with the roundabout.
Okay, so thinking through projects we've already discussed, one of them being in front of fire and EMS and the sheriff's office, where we were looking to have that be paved in a 4-lane all the way to the intersection. I mean, would they spend money, could we still get a grant or an application in for that north part of, what is that,
113.
Yeah,
So if we're talking like cost share program, that has nothing to do with this
that safety grant.
safety program, and they wouldn't even the same people
Don't look at it.
reviewing the applications, so I would say one would influence the other whatsoever.
Okay,
The
okay,
safety improvement program was specifically just for intersection safety improvements.
that's it.
That's it. And they are putting a focus on roundabouts, and to be honest, what I heard the KDOT person say, they've tried to get applications for roundabouts 2 years in a row and gotten 0. So they're chomping at the bit to get somebody to apply.
So they're literally looking just for a roundabout itself.
That's their top priority.
Yep.
They are considering other intersection improvements. I wouldn't say that roundabout is the only thing they'll consider, but they would love to get
Can these
roundabout.
projects be on highways?
Not this particular one. This is for county and city county road mainly.
Okay,
So highway programs, that KDOT does that themselves.
yeah.
That was the main purpose of the local consult meetings, was to drum up highway improvement ideas.
Okay. Okay.
I was looking on their stat sheet on the major road, which would be Main, let's see, they're calling, I think, Main Road. It had an annual or average daily traffic of 920 vehicles.
At that
Now,
corner?
this is from 2020, yeah, at that intersection on the main primary road. The minor road is at 210 vehicles a day.
And the minor road is what, Plum or
Middle.
River?
Would be
Middle?
road,
Middle.
I believe.
Somebody lives at that house on the corner?
Yeah,
Okay,
You talking about out here on the road right out here?
right there.
southeast corner,
Mhm.
little white one.
When I was a kid, I used to know where everybody lived out there.
Yeah, that would be one thing to look at if, as we refine the concept, draw in property lines, that house, might be impacted.
Yeah, yeah.
And we might be able to tweak the size of the roundabout maybe to get away from that as well. I mean, this is just one drawing that we threw together to give a visual of what we're talking about.
I mean, it'd
And
be-
then I know there's a lot of utilities in the intersection too. I think Well Roads has water lines and stuff in there that might have to get moved around.
Quite a bit of truck traffic out there too.
for the rodeo?
Well, there's grain trucks, cattle haulers. I think there's a myriad of different trucks off of all those roads out there. Be something else to take into consideration.
We do a roundabout in McCoslin.
You could do one just about everywhere.
Trying to, I think you could throw the trash out for grants. I mean, that's an area that needs a lot of assistance. Okay,
Problem with that one is, well, as
Yeah.
far as this program, it's not on a main road. I don't think it's a county road, it's probably a minor road. It's county or township road. Where this here Will Roads is a major collector road.
that's why it qualifies for this.
Right.
Kenny, what's your thought?
About this deal,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a waste of time and money.
Okay.
First of all, do you know how many people down to Will Rose Garden?
Well, I've been out there quite a bit, but you're saying 934 on a daily basis.
900 vehicles plus is what they put this plan together.
Yeah.
So compared to a lot of county roads, it's quite a lot, actually.
Yeah.
Commissioner Boyce, I just did a list of everybody living in Rose Gardens, there was 133 people.
Okay.
That's nice. Ford has more people than that. I mean, I don't know. It looks like to me that they waste a lot of money in Washington DC. It looks like to me the state of Kansas is trying to figure out how they can waste more money. Looks like to me.
Nobody's gonna make the county do it, it's request.
Well, I can tell you one thing about it, if Mr. Tassett and Boyce wants to do it, that's part of the game. I just think it's dumb.
Well, John, can you reach out to Commissioner
Absolutely.
Tassett and talk to him, and then reach out to admin and let him know kind of like how things are feeling consensus-wise, and we can probably put a thought process together moving forward.
If the local said they don't want it either, then.
Right, right.
No point to go forward, but if they said, hey, this would be great for safety improvement for us, then why turn it down?
Yeah, right. Right.
Yeah,
Okay,
I can talk to Commissioner Tassett. and,
appreciate that.
Come back to the subject.
Okay,
All right, thank you very much.
thank you.
Do you have any questions for me other than that topic?
Well, we saw, a drainage culvert today, but it's truly a township issue, more than a county issue. And
JD showed me the photos from that.
yeah, and we just have to walk through that. The only other one that I had that we haven't really addressed was by Fairway Drive, where it actually dead ends into like the bowling alley, lovers seat there.
I saw,
So,
looked at that.
yeah.
You mentioned that when I was here last time.
So you can kind of see where the erosion is going next to the drainage ditches. And
Right, it's
that
actually
was-
coming off the road.
It is.
Uh,
So they had concerns there before the road starts like falling, or if it would.
So actually, I'm glad you brought that up. I've got to put that in my notes. So one thought I had was actually put curb and gutter maybe
Uh-huh.
around the corner there and force the water off to a couple of pins.
Yep.
And then you could put in some kind of slope element there where the water would come off the ends of the
Yeah,
gutter.
yeah,
Is
yeah.
a potential idea.
I think that's what their thought process was before the road started falling. So,
And the road could be, the support for the road could be repaired and the curb and gutter put in
yeah,
in that instance.
okay. I appreciate that.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is for IT Director Matthew Brackey.
Welcome.
Segments.
As most of you guys know pretty well, one of the biggest things that my job entails is the security of our computerized systems and networks across the entire county. It's just quite a lot of technology out there, multiple data centers, multiple dozens of servers, and over 300 employees and their access to what could be at times sensitive information. In light of some more high-profile cyber attacks, such as Dallas City last year, MGM casinos, and even City of Pittsburgh in Kansas. I started to reach out to a number of managed cybersecurity companies who offer SOC support, that's Security Operations Center support, and to come into the processes at a massively discounted rate in comparison to doing that same kind of work in-house. CrowdStrike is they are about the premier company out there. They have the largest customer base, the lowest pricing, and their services are 100% in-house. Most of the companies that I work with require to have multiple third parties to come along in this, where CrowdStrike, being also, like I said, the cheapest out of everybody, was also 100% in-house and 100% domestic. With the overall Falcon Complete system that they offer, we receive a dedicated team of SOC analysts and threat hunting specialists that are monitoring output from our systems 24/7, 365 days a year, even 366 if it's a leap year. And they are a pretty awesome company. With the Falcon Complete system, it's their primary package. Like it says, 24/7 monitoring of all systems that we have installed. The Falcon antivirus software, which is a next-gen artificial intelligence and machine learning-backed antivirus, which monitors not only malicious file activities, but also malicious behavior activities, and tracks malicious behavior activities across the entire planet as to where they're actually originating from. The AV package would replace our current legacy antivirus system, which is Trend Micro, which currently only handles the malicious file side, which only accounts for about 30% of cyber attacks that are experienced by both public and private sector organizations. Within the Falcon Complete, we will receive the Falcon Discover program, which is an IT hygiene and asset visibility system. It will allow the Falcon Prevent, which is the actual antivirus, the name of the antivirus. The Falcon Overwatch, which is the managed threat hunting. They have a 10-minute identification time, 28-minute is their average time for response, and 62 minutes is their actual remediation time. Average cyber attacks in the actual process before full quote-unquote detonation is 89 minutes. So they can typically stop cyber attacks within the time frame before full detonation actually occurs. And then there's the Insight program, which is their endpoint detection and response, which is the separate piece of software we install along with the antivirus, which actually helps with the 24/7 monitoring system. As I stated, the AV software, it monitors both software and behavior, meaning that if it tracks how people log in, if suddenly somebody starts logging in from Brazil at 3 o'clock in the morning, it's gonna lock that account out. It's gonna shut that system down for us to be able to come in and manually fix the issues with the individual's user account. Just like that for us. It's an automatic system. The Spotlight system, that's part of the Falcon Complete program, is for vulnerability assessment and advisement on addressing internal vulnerabilities. Meaning that it will actually scan our networks, it will find where we have security issues, where we have possible vulnerabilities, whether it be through patching, through permissions, and they will actually identify those for us, lay them out in an easy to implement and an easy to remediate situation, so we can add to our continued protection of the county. There's also, along with this program, a breach warranty that in the event that we do experience a large-scale cyber breach, they will contribute an additional $100,000 on a warranty on top of our current cyber insurance payout that we have through KCAMP. It should be noted that CrowdStrike has not had a breach on their systems in the past 6 years. So that's pretty good. And I can't say that about the other organizations that I actually reached out to, which were Arctic Wolf, Raven-Eye, and Neovera. Pricing wise, I did provide two separate quotes there. They are both through a third party through Dell. The smaller number is for a singular annual cost, and then the larger numbered ones are for a 3-year upfront cost. There are two separate systems. There's the Falcon Complete with ITP, which is the Identity Threat Protection System, which is a 24/7 monitoring of dark web activity to find out if we actually have credentials out there for sale, and to monitor and make sure that we are aware and we are taking care of any kind of possible breaches that we have. I really want to impress that, that in the event that we do experience a breach, the average cost for a public sector organization for the remediation is $2.09 million, and it takes roughly 89 days to completely come back up to 100% capacity. The cost of doing an entire security operations system, the SOC, in-house, would on the low end be roughly $360,000 per year, and that's running 4 people 7 days a week. At this cost, we're able to share the load between all the other companies that work with CrowdStrike. And CrowdStrike is also the company with the Falcon Complete system that the OJA has currently contracted with to remediate through their cyber attack that they've experienced. And they're actually going to be installing CrowdStrike on all 16 district computers. So it's, seems in line that if one organization that we're actually helping to do our IT support for is going with this, you know, we should go with this. I happened to actually be looking at this before the DOJ attack happened. So, but right now, the ITP system is the optional item on here. It would be very nice to have that as a extra point of security, and that would run at $60,600 per year, or if we were to pay 3 years for it up front, $175,712. That is a slight discount of $6,088 if we were to pay that $60,600 each year. Without the identity threat protection, the annual cost is $41,600 a year, and the 3-year upfront cost would be $121,797 for the 3-year upfront at a savings of $3,003, comparably to paying 1 year at a time.
And Legacy, before this, we had a budget on that item, correct?
Yes, and it's a portion of our, of another
Like a third.
things, it's, well, yeah, the Legacy Antivirus is part of our overall Trend Micro suite, which is what runs our hosted email security.
Okay.
It is not the lion's share, it is about $3,000 to $6,000 worth
Okay.
of that, so. The thing is that we're a municipal organization. Local governments are hit more than any other type of organization out there with a cyber attack. We're lucky that we have relatively suspicious people in this county when it comes to emails, but we still see 7,000 to 12,000 spam emails that are being blocked, and about 2,000 or so maybe per month that actually get through. And that's just the email side.
So on a budget side of this project, you've got budgeted items. Where do we come in on this?
Could you elaborate? I'm sorry.
Like in your IT department, you have a current budget. Is this an item that would fall within your
No, we
scope?
would need
It's
to add
outside.
this. We would need
Okay.
to add this to our budget.
Okay.
It is the next step in moving us into a truly secure environment.
Okay. And how much is this per year?
Without the identity threat protection, $41,600, and with the identity threat protection, $60,600.
And can you explain the identity threat in detail?
It's a consistent monitoring of dark web activity to make sure that we don't have user access credentials and Fort County information that's actually for sale directly on the dark web.
Oh, okay.
Do you understand this deal?
Yeah, I mean, I do, and actually, without letting too much out of the bag, the current company that I work with had a cyber attack, and we were down for 10 days. I don't know what that would have cost, our company to bring everybody back online, but you've got over 3,000 users in that one, and it was unbelievable how they would tell you little bits of information each day and drug it out for 10 days before they actually brought things back up. We didn't lose any data. Nobody's identity was taken, no agent's identity was taken, no company's identification was taken. But it's like what you talked about, where maybe someone in Brazil all of a sudden has your credentials and they're trying to log into your system and disrupt your organization. They were able to shut all that down and take everything offline. It's unbelievable how disruptive this would be. I mean, it would just be very, very detrimental to a county operation that doesn't stop. I mean, this is something where emergency services just constantly are moving, and I wondered if we would get to this point. When you talked about MGM, they were down. Caesar's Palace, I believe, was the same one that was down at the
Caesars
same time.
paid their ransom immediately, whereas MGM refused to do so, and they lost something close to $130 million in revenue during that time frame.
Theirs was like a 10 to 12 day period.
Yeah.
The courts are still down. They've
Yeah.
been down since October 16th. Sorry to jump in, I know you mentioned OJA, but it's been extremely
Well, I'm glad you brought that up.
disruptive to the court system, because it's not just Fort County, it's
Yeah.
every county,
Yeah.
the court system.
The state of
Still
Kansas
down.
court system also got hit.
Yeah.
And you would
This
have
is the
people show
company
up
that's
at
helping
court,
to fix
and they
it.
didn't know they were coming.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the company that's fixing that.
That's helping to fix that, yes. Same exact program that Falcon Complete.
Yeah. I mean, I always wondered what the total package would actually cost for something like this.
Mhm.
I know we've got, your quote says 300 for quantity,
Uh-huh.
and I don't know how many employees we actually have online all the time, because I would assume some people probably don't.
Yeah, they have a minimum of 300 on licenses.
I got you.
So that's actual people who are active in use. That's more based on the devices.
Yeah.
Because this, the actual Insight and the EDR solution are go onto the specific devices. So on all of our servers, all of our computers, anything that is Windows or Mac or even Linux, I believe.
I mean, I think it seems like this is where people need to be for protection. So the 175 is a 3-year.
Yes, it's for
cost?
3 years, complete total upfront, and that's for the full-on package with the identity threat protection.
What budget line would this come out of?
It would have to come out of hardware and software equipment reserve.
Okay, and we have that currently?
I have to double verify that with Debbie in her department.
Because I think it'd be important to have this for sure. It's amazing that we can talk about it openly. I mean, it's on camera and people are now knowing it could be meeting minutes, but what our systems are. But I mean, obviously CrowdStrike is the top one if they're basically saying, hey, if there's a breach, we'll pay you $100,000. I
Yeah.
mean, that's amazing. So 41.6 gets us,
The first year without the dark web protection stuff, the dark web search and reporting.
and your recommendation?
My recommendation would be to at least do 1 year under with the identity threat protection before we move on to a continuation and go and sign a longer contract with them to find out if we actually are going to continue to use further portions of the actual program. Because we'll receive regular, I think it's weekly reports from them to determine the activity, the number of attempted intrusions, things like that. And we also receive real-time reports as if incidents are occurring. And that's one of the big keys of this, that we have 24/7 support, which, I have a team of a few individuals, but we can't be available. And we can't do this 24/7, 365.
Right.
It's not humanly possible to do that.
Right. So are you recommending the 41.6?
The 60,600.
60, okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Well, you notice I didn't argue about this, but I don't have a clue what you're doing.
Trying to protect us from actually getting our data breached and somebody getting in there and
That's
messing with
what I
somebody.
understood towards the end, or when you come up with the deal. But
Yeah.
I understand now a little bit, but not much. But like when you talk about Warroad's Gardens and Ford and the roads and all that deal, I know a little bit about this stuff. This is a different deal.
I'd make a motion to approve the recommendation and implementation of CrowdStrike managed security at the level of 60,600.
I second it.
The motion second, any further discussion? I think my only thought here is on the legacy system, do we end that?
So with that, when we come to the actual next renewal phase, when we do the renewal for the hosted email security, because that won't go away.
Okay.
We will have a lower rate on that because we will no longer include the antivirus solution.
Got it. Okay, I
Yeah.
got you. All right. I'll call a vote. All those in favor? Aye.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you. Number 4.
We have the upcoming meetings.
JD, we got the,
What you put it on here, number 4.
yep, I did.
We have the Kansas Association of Counties Annual Conference, that is December 5th to the 7th. That'll be at the Hyatt Regency in Wichita, Century 2 Convention Center. We have the K-Work annual meeting going at the same time. Kirkland Michael Client Appreciation Dinner also, along with K-Camp annual meeting. All those will be at the same time at the KAC conference in Wichita. Chairman Tassett and Tanda will be there for that, and I'm not sure, Debbie, are you going to KAC? I think Brendo usually goes to that. We have the Employee Appreciation Luncheon, that'll be December 13th. That is next Wednesday, I believe, from 11 to 2, that'll be at the Expo. We have a special year-end meeting, that'll be December 29th at 8:30 a.m. here. And the first regular commission meeting for 2024 will be Tuesday, January 2nd at 3:30 at the same time. That is all I have for the upcoming meetings. The amended item is a letter of support for the City of Dodge City. And we have staff from the City of Dodge City here to answer any questions. Ray and Tanner.
Welcome. Welcome, Tanner. Thank you, Ray.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. We're here on behalf of the City of Dodge City to ask for a letter of support for our application to the Bureau of Reclamation for our Managed Aquifer Recharge Program, or MAR. With this program, we would take a portion of the recycled effluent from our South Wastewater plant, and the additional effluent that's will be coming to the plant, and clean it up, do some additional cleaning, and then eventually discharge it into the Ark Riverbed west of town to help sustain the aquifer in the Dodge City area. This is just another method of our stewardship for groundwater that started over 40 years ago in the early 80s, when the city commissioners decided to build the wastewater treatment plant south of town, and use that water not only once but twice and sometimes 3 times for irrigation of crops, to help sustain the aquifer in this area, for not only at that time but for future generations, and we're looking to just build on that to keep the sustainability of the aquifer viable for the unforeseen future.
So currently, we treat about 6.5 to 7 million gallons of wastewater at our South Wastewater plant. With the expansion that we're currently constructing to accept Hillmar's wastewater, we will be treating about 8 million total once that's online, or 8 to 8.5. So with this project, we look to take 4 million of that, so about half, and treat it further and bring it back to town and put back into the ground. Then we would continue to treat and irrigate with 4 to 4.5 million gallons at our current facility out south. So with Hillmar, they will be using about 800,000 gallons of fresh water a day for operations, but they will be sending us to treat 1.5 million gallons. So by having another reuse for this treated wastewater, we're actually going to be bringing water to Ford County in approximately 700,000 gallons a day. So the counties that have the dairies, there won't be any, currently not planned to have any dairies in Ford County. So the counties that do have dairies, when that milk is delivered to Ford County and cheese is made from it, we'll actually be importing about 700,000 gallons of water a day into Ford County. So that's additional water that we're bringing in that we're going to be putting back into the ground. With the end goal, by further treating that 4 million gallons and putting it back in the ground, we're looking to potentially recharge the aquifer at 90%. So 3.6 million gallons of that 4 we would estimate to go straight to the aquifer.
Currently, we are recycling about little over 2 billion gallons of water a year at our wastewater plant. So, as Tanner mentioned, we're going to kind of, with the addition of the Hillmar effluent, we'll still continue that be somewhere in the 1.5 billion gallons, and then there'll be about 1.5 billion gallons of water discharged into the riverbed to help sustain the aquifer.
So with this program, this application through Bureau of Reclamation, it's a cost share. It's a 25% federal share, so the city would be responsible for the remaining 75%. This project is estimated at $60 million, so we could potentially receive up to $15 million from the feds to help fund the construction of this facility.
So whereabouts are you putting it back in the river?
We would look to discharge it back into the river just west of 14th Avenue Bridge, so just on the west side of town.
What about those sand pits? It's all.
It would just be just east of there. The sand pits would still be to the west of it. So yeah, just off like where the levees stop on the south side.
I know where you're talking.
Yeah, so right in that area, kind of north of Beeson School.
Yeah.
That if influence of that discharge would actually cover all the city's wells and actually go west a little ways out into the county and south out into the county due to the gradient of the riverbed and the aquifer in that area.
So out north of town where they have that deal there, you pump it back for the golf course for the city, is that what you're doing?
Currently, yes.
It'd be a similar type of facility. To further treat the effluent, we'd have to run through a membrane system, would provide extra disinfectant, and there's possibly an RO system that may need to be also implemented. We're just, working through all the details of the system, but the application to the Bureau of Reclamation is due later this week, and so we're just asking for a letter of support from the county. We're asking some other entities for letters of support also, so.
They're estimating with, because we put the discharge back into the river, we don't have to receive that or pump that water back out immediately. It's just there to help sustain the aquifer. And they're modeling that if we operate sending that almost 4 million gallons a day to the aquifer, that we could recharge the aquifer, bring up the groundwater elevation up to 15 foot within about 15 years. So it's significant, the impacts.
That is significant.
The impacts that would be isolated like in the Dodge City area, like close to that discharge point within about a mile of it. Once you get further and further away from that discharge point, the impact isn't as great, but it's still positive for the aquifer.
Yeah.
Well, I understand this and I agree.
All right. Is that a motion?
Yes. Why don't you give the motion and I'll second it?
So gentlemen, you are looking for a letter of support to this letter, and this is going to Camille Kamlimlim?
Yes,
Teuton?
with the Bureau of Reclamation.
Okay. All right. So I'd make a motion to approve the letter of support to the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation on behalf of the city of Dodge City, signed by the Ford County Commission.
I second it.
All right, with a motion and second, I'll call a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you guys very much.
All right, nothing else is before us, so I would make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I second
With a motion and second, I'll call a vote. All those in favor? Aye.
it. Aye.